Well, I think as much that as it was a desire to kind of figure out his story with somewhat of a historical perspective. To when I met Vice President Cheney and when we started working on the film, he was in failing health, and uh, it was before he had found out he was going to have a heart transplant. In fact, he quite poignantly described the way he was spending his days to me when I first met him, which was basically he'd wake up and walk over to an easy chair and sit down and just kind of let the day pass because he didn't have any energy to do anything else. And to some degree, it felt like he was waiting for his time to come, and was prepared for it. And it struck me that it was important. Love him or hate him, agree with him or disagree with him, find his 40 years at the heart of American presidential administrations to be a good thing for the country or a bad thing. That his story was one that was important to tell, and I also wanted to tell it with his voice at the center of it. His relationship with President Bush is a big part of the film, and the kind of disintegration of the relationship is a big part of the film. It's Cheney-esque positions. He feels as though his own efforts and the Bush administration's efforts are to be given more credit, for instance, in the capture and killing of Osama bin Laden than they're given. And he believes that all of his efforts, whether they go to warrantless surveillance of Americans or what are called enhanced interrogation techniques that are really the torture of prisoners of war or whatever. He feels that he was right and that they were for our betterment, and he presents his case. I won't speak for him. He'd have to tell you what he thought specifically of it. But we had a spirited dialogue afterwards that was really fascinating, as the dialogues here have been after the film. I mean, there's a lot to talk about with this movie, and the movie is made in such a way as to provoke conversation most of all. It's not an agitprop film. It's not a film that says this is what we think you, the viewer, should believe. This is who's right and this is who's wrong. It's structured as a narrative. It's a life story, but we are particularly eager for viewers to draw their own conclusions.